Hello and welcome to Lady Coding Happy Hour. In honor of International Women's Day, we ladies have taken over things here at Live Code Happy Hour, and just want to welcome you all to the stream today, whether you are watching morning, evening, or afternoon. Um, I am Sharon Barnes. I currently work with Clear Sky and have been in the ServiceNow space for approximately 2 years. I'm very excited to have joined the MVPs. And I want to let the rest of our ladies introduce themselves. So we're going to go clockwise around. And Gabby, you're up.
I'm glad you said my name because I didn't know which way clockwise was. So hi, I'm Maria Gabriela Ochoa Perez Wechter, MGOPW, and I do ServiceNow things for like 4 or 5 years. It's all a blur. And I run womennow.dev. Y'all better show up there and take a look at some of the stuff we have written down from amazing women like this one right here and this one right here. The other two still owe me stuff. And today I will be drinking this cider because, again, I'm not good at following the rules of this place. It's supposed to be beer, I think, but I always do wine or cider. Sarah's turn.
Hello, I'm Sarah Tolson. I am the experience lead at ServiceNow partner. Been on the platform for over 3 years. Background in local government management and graphic design. So I design, I develop, I do ServiceNow things too. Happy to be here. Do I get to call on the next person? Oh, and I'm drinking some boxed white wine because I forgot to get something cool. But Paige, it's your go.
I think we were supposed to go clockwise. Is that? No, that's still a clock. I can't clock. Okay.
Clockwise
Anyway.
for me.
I don't know.
How many steps does it take to figure out clockwise, y'all?
5, apparently.
You aren't supposed to do pre-drinking.
I sadly haven't. So my name is Paige Duffy. I currently work at Novant Health, and I have been in the ServiceNow ecosystem for something like 12 years. I don't know. I predate city names.
Forever.
Forever. It feels like forever. That's all I can remember that we're supposed to say. And I guess since the other two ladies have already introduced their drinks, I'll do the same and we can get back around to sharing. I am also doing wine. It is called 20 Bees Ice Wines. It's a little tiny bottle.
I like that label. I only pick wine based on the label. Like that's how it gets chosen.
Yep, and I get to drink it in this cool cup. So
nice.
I drink.
Drinking and know things. I have a shirt like that.
All right, last up.
Hi, I'm Kopal. It's been almost 8 years since ServiceNow, and I'm a solution architect with Deloitte UK. What am I drinking today is I will stick with the basic. This is my red wine for today. And since it's Women's Day special, so red is my wine for today. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, and I am right there with you. I also have a red wine, Conundrum. It is their 10th anniversary bottle, and so far is quite tasty because I will admit, done a little bit of pre-drinking. But moving on, let's go ahead and get into the meat of what we are talking about today. Gabby had a great idea for a Todoist integration, making our workflow smoother and better, and I am going to hand it over to you.
I mean, let's be real. I'm just trying to make an update to what Chuck has had out there. So what I really want to show today is how to start a integration from scratch, from zero. Because I have gotten to touch a little bit of everything on the platform, but honestly, I haven't gotten to set one up myself yet. And Sharon and I agree to disagree on stories and how important they are. And I just can't think in stories, y'all. I just can't figure that out. So I want to use Todoist And I still want to make sure that I give Sharon what she wants, which are stories in ServiceNow. So I'm going to be figuring out here. I'm going to be zooming into all of the pages so that way you guys can see it. The only one that here we go. Control. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to have the zoom fixed here. So I think Chuck has tried to do this a couple of times. And originally, it was about 4 years ago. And he has this really awesome lessons learned Todoist to ServiceNow integration document. And he also has a Spoketober spoke on GitHub that I have forked, but I didn't know about that until literally like 3 hours ago. So, and 2 of them I spent sleeping. So I am going to show you guys what you do to get started. So the very first thing you need to do is just a little bit of background is this thing called Postman. Now, I had no idea that Postman existed either until Jared told me about it one day. And it is a lot of fun. I still don't know how to use about 80% of it, but it basically helps you explore and test out APIs. And what you can do is the first thing you need to do is Google, hey, let me look at the Todoist API real quick. Found it. And it lets you put in information and put in things into the header, your authentication and other parameters in order to be able to look at the stuff from the API. But this isn't where we want to get started yet, because I started trying to figure this out, and I have the URL here that they give you for the they have sample code in here, but you know, like that's still way too. There's a way to make this easier. You literally just have to Google Todoist Postman, and people already did this for you. They literally have a Todoist API just collection here where they've already done all the calls for you. So that way you can get in here, you can fork it, which in computer speak just basically means, hey, let me borrow that code real quick. And you have your own copy of it now. So I'm going to hide my original attempt at this that I started months ago and then completely neglected. And I'm going to
Hey,
show you guys
Gabby,
this here. What?
can you I think zoom in a little bit?
A little bit
Have
more?
you?
Okie dokie.
Yeah, at least for me, it's still pretty small, and I have a large screen. So
Oh no. I think my computer died. There we go. Okie dokie. So hopefully this should be a little bit better.
Yes.
So now that we have our baseline, which is how we talk to the API, and we're able to test it out here, let me show you guys how to get that part started. So something that is kind of confusing is the authentication stuff within ServiceNow. Oh, hey, this is something I totally shouldn't ignore, but I'm going to have it remind me later. But something that I see a lot is people not sure where to start the authentication stuff in ServiceNow, and it was something that I tried to figure out. And it took me a while, so let me go ahead and find. You end up basically just going into your settings, and I always get lost in the way here. Developer settings, personal access tokens. So here you're going to generate a new token, and this is going to basically not going to be used by me. It's going to be immediately removed. You give it the access that you need, and typically you only need the repo access in order to do what you need to do.
Can you make
So
it a little bigger?
is that good?
Can you make it a little bigger?
How about now?
It did not. Oh, okay. It changed on one screen, but not the other. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry,
Okay, I was looking at the wrong
confused.
screen. Okay, yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Sorry, my screen is just so awesome and big. I'm so sorry.
You like big screens and you cannot lie?
Okay, funny though, I know the entirety of that song, and my husband just shakes his head anytime that I start singing it. I love it though.
And that's like one of the millennial anthems. That's like required reading for our age group.
I know, right? If you don't have that memorized, like, you can't even
Where
call
were you in
yourself
the
a millennial.
90s? Like, come on.
Do you even remember the 90s? Gosh.
Yes. Git repo.
So, I've got my access token ready. And now I'm going to go into ServiceNow and I'm going to plop it in there. So what you do is you start right here in your PDI that you can get on developer.servicenow.com, and you look up credentials, because I don't know how to actually navigate it. I just look everything up. So if you click here under Integration Hub, I'm sure there's different places to get to it, but there's this credentials library basically. And here you're able to see that I have my GitHub one set up with my username and the type basic auth. There's a bunch of different types that you can set up, but basically this is what's going to be asking you when you set up the connection, as well as when you set up your connection to GitHub using App Engine Studio. So this is how you get it in there, and it's just basic record. Basic auth works for me. So now we're going to go into the App Engine Studio, and I'm going to just create another app. And
Hey, Gabby, can you go full screen on that window? Thank you.
Electric book. Nice name.
so then it's going to do its thing, and then we're going to go to the home. And check this out, y'all. I learned how to do this today. They have this tab called Source Control, where you can link it to Source Control. And if you guys ever have any questions on how to work with Source Control and GitHub on other ServiceNow related projects and apps and things like that, we have a really awesome blog on that on womennow.dev that goes further into detail about all of this. But basically, once you have your once you have your GitHub so you basically create your repo and you get a URL up at the top. You then plop it in here and it will create the branch. And this is where you select the credentials that you want to use. So I know I have mine as GitHub, and that's how I can link it to Source Control. I wanted to show these parts because these are the parts that every online tutorial basically just says, oh, go create your app, set up your credentials, and connect it to GitHub. Like, it's all one step when it's really kind of not. So
Hey,
now,
Gabby.
yep.
So Chuck did say, watch the branch name. The new GitHub default is main, not master anymore.
Interesting. Where do I have it set up here as? Main, not master. That's weird. I literally just created this today. Why did it default to master and not main? Something you Something that took me forever to realize is that in order to rename your branches, you literally have to go into View All Branches and click on the Edit button here. So I guess I am renaming it to Main. Boop. Now, in one of the many videos I watched to set this up, I can't quite remember, but I do know that there's something special about how you name your app. Um, Although my scope doesn't contain the word spoke, that was just something that they pointed out. So we've got this now, and we're going to go back in here, and we are going to make sure that we can get our postman stuff to return us data. So something that they don't tell you when you fork this collection is that you have to set up some global variables up here at the top. Oh, hey, look, that was nice. It just shows them completely there. That's fantastic. I'm not going to show you guys that. And I'm going to redo my authentication keys after the video. But basically, you go up here to this little eyeball, and you need to add a pair of global variables, one for the token, and then one for the base URL, which is going to be the URL from Todoist. And that way, when you hit send, boom, we get information, which means this works. So now we can go into ServiceNow and get started from here. And Paige is going to help us out with that because she's done this before. Where do I go, Paige?
That's an excellent question. So I was reading chat. So I know you need to get into Flow Designer. So yeah. And I would kind of start with just creating the action first.
I know, you guys. I don't think my internet wants to flow very well.
And then create a new action.
I'm guessing these have to be specific. So like the thing that I tested is the get active tasks. So I would do like Todoist get active tasks.
I mean, you just want it to be something informative. So that's what you're going to see when you're actually going to select the different actions. That's just the title that you'll see. And then you really want to add a decent description. That also helps you if someone's not you.
Thank you. Perfect.
And then the action annotation is just what you see when you've actually put it on the flow. So if you want like hover over information. Very descriptive.
Thank you. I work hard. Okay, so from here.
Is that if you're waiting for me?
I am waiting for you, boss.
So start with your input. So what you're going to input to get the desired output. Typically for most integrations, it's something along the lines of what information you need to be able to get that spoke to go, which may not be much of anything. I don't know what you're inputting into this to hope to get out.
Is this like do I want to send the IDs of the records that I'm making, or is this the environment variable side of things?
No, so the environments and stuff, it depends. It can be. So if you want to make this reusable, so you want to have to feed in, say, the specific Todoist list that you're looking for to grab, you would put it in here. If you're just wanting to make this for a single list, then you can also put it into the step in which we actually do the REST call. It just kind of depends on how reusable and flexible you want it to be.
What if I want to make it the most flexiblest, most reasonablest thing in the whole wide world?
Then, I mean, you would probably put in a variable for, I'm guessing it's the list. I don't remember what the Postman what the API was looking for, but I'm guessing you're feeding it some sort of identifier.
I think here
Yeah.
we were just grabbing the whole list, but we can send them like ID. Or do we want to do URL?
No,
ID
I
looks unique. We
go ahead.
could. Yeah, ID looks unique. We could have IDs.
Yeah, so I mean, you'd pass the ID in if you want to just grab that singular item. If you're looking to grab everything, then we probably don't actually need anything there. Like if you're looking to just connect to Todoist and authenticate and grab everything back that it wants to send to you, then you wouldn't necessarily pass anything.
Awesome. Then let's go on to the next step then. Do we need this one?
You will eventually, yes.
Okay, then what is the next step? Chris is right. Project ID would also work.
Yeah, that could be a value that you pass in if you want to only bring back items related to a specific project. If you're not going to pass anything, then you might want to remove that input.
Chuck just pointed something out that I forgot to do. I'm going to put in the Todoist API key off screen so you guys don't end up seeing my stuff. But I basically went back into the credentials table and I clicked on new. And there's a bunch of different types of credentials that you can create on here. And I'm just going to click on API key credentials. I'm going to pop this out here. And here, I'm just going to take this off screen so you guys can't see it. And you don't mess with my to-do lists.
I mean, the next thing you know, you'll have like 10,000 tasks to do.
Honestly, this is why I always try to be careful with my friends. Because okay, y'all want to know one of the first interactions that I had with Earl? I can't remember
Yes.
how he got my number, but he started sending me cat texts. Just like the cat hotline, and I had no idea who it was. And I was just so freaking out, like, what's going on? I didn't subscribe to anything. Yeah, Earl, I'm sure you forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be very careful about how I got this thing before I end up getting trolled by my amazing, lovely, wonderful group of friends.
That's what we're here for.
So then from here, where do we go? I've got my credentials in. What now, Paige?
Sorry, I had to flip back over to the screen to unmute because I was very rapidly trying to pull up Flow Designer on my screen. It's
So
difficult to talk someone through something when you're not able to click around a little bit.
So I was planning on like preparing for this a lot more.
Yes.
But then I ended up getting just like really sick and just dizzy a couple hours ago. But again, I couldn't call out because my beautiful group of friends would all just tease me to all just to no end. So that's why I'm here completely unprepared. Thank you, Paige.
I'm going to guess it's a rest step.
Yes.
Perfect. Rest step. Oh, look. Chuck was one step ahead of us. Here's where it's asking me for the credentials.
Correct. The ones that you just made.
Yeah, the ones that I just made, but they aren't coming up here. So I'm
Ooh.
thinking I didn't make them in the right place.
Yeah, so you have to create the credential or the connection alias that then you can connect to the credentials. This is one of those parts for me that gets a little confusing.
Let's see.
Well, so
Connection.
if you go back to so do you see the plus sign? Little plus sign off to the.
Yeah.
You don't even have to leave Flow Designer.
Look at that.
That is delightful.
I'm just so used to, like, I'm not ready. Hi, Chuck says, hey, I've got a video that explains this. And it's like, yes, you do, good sir. I fell asleep halfway through it. I'm so sorry. I tried. But jokes aside, there's a lot of videos and a lot of resources out there to help you out with this type of stuff. I was watching the Creator Toolbox series earlier today. And if you guys end up encountering anything like that, they're great resources. You just have to make sure you sit down and watch them, y'all. Who could have thought?
And if you prefer something that you can read through with directions instead of watching, the developer site also has an amazing tutorial that walked me through it my first time.
I feel like Sarah should in the background pull up his video and quickly skim it and then give us directions on this connection and credential aliases. Cough. Cough, cough.
I think you're doing fine. I think. Again, this is one of those parts where I always struggle.
Boop.
Like, did I get all the pieces right?
Alternatively, y'all. So let's take a look at. I mean, worst case scenario, we can I could teach everybody how to import a new application from GitHub, and we can look and cheat off of Chuck's homework.
Well, I mean, so worst case scenario, you can change that from use connection alias to define connection inline.
Oh.
The connection alias, I think, just contains the same information. So it's going to contain like your credentials and it's going to contain the base URL. If you flip it, then you just pick the credentials from there and like plug in your base URL. So,
Whoops. Where is the other Todoist window that I have the API in?
I do not
That's
know.
good to know.
I see a little Todoist icon back.
There it is.
Right there.
Thank you. So here is the URL that we need to plop here. We don't need a mid server. Submit. Awesome. We somehow made it through that, y'all. Good job, everybody. Pat yourselves on the back.
I am not patting anybody on the back until we have tested to see that it works.
No.
Well, that's rude.
It's the little victories in life. How am I supposed to continue on?
I'm proud of you, Gabby.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm proud of you too, Paige. What now?
So I don't think we need a specific resource path. I think the URL that you plugged in as the base URL is everything we need, and we are retrieving. So get is correct. You just need to plug in any specific headers that you need or parameters.
I do know that we need the tokens. But there has to be some way to put in there Oh wait, no, that's already handled by the credential. So never mind. I don't think we need any headers right off the bat. Let's see what we have here in the.
So I do think you need that content type. If you can flip back the content type, application JSON. I feel like I've run into issues in the past, and I've had to include that as
The easiest way to tell is let's just uncheck them all and see if it still works. That's something that Jared taught me. It broke.
Okay.
So let's see what it's telling us. I probably removed something important.
Yeah, I think you have to have that.
There we go.
The
That's the only
host.
one that's needed. Perfect. So now what's in here?
Yeah, I don't think you have to plug all of those in. I really
So
think the
just
only
content
reason.
type?
Yes, at least at the last time I did this, I had to add that to make it work. So, and I
Kopal
feel
over here.
Huh? Oh,
You want to say that out loud, Kopal?
The Postman one.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm really loving it. So I always use it, and seeing that how we are using it here, every headers you can see. I think that's a go-to tool for every developer. Everybody should refer to it.
100%. It's
Yeah.
just developers should probably look up some some how-to guides on them.
Yeah, especially with integrations when the third-party tools most of the time does not allow you, and you don't know whom to blame. So it's more like when the connection is not setting up, whose problem it is. Postman.
Exactly. Now something like, okay, Sarah, what are your feelings on this? Are you looking at the screen?
are
Someone
you even
poke
still
Sarah.
with us? Have you left? Have you decided we're boring?
She probably hates us. She probably hates me personally, and she's just sitting there like, oh my
Oh
goodness.
God, I was double muted. And I'm like, no, stop it. Quit your talk. No. No, I am looking at the screen, but this is all so new to me. I almost don't even know what questions to ask. I often
Don't
tell
even
people,
worry about it.
like, integrations is the opposite of what I do, and I'm allergic to them. So
Well,
I'm
no.
sitting here like in awe of y'all.
I have a question for you, okay?
Okay.
Are you looking at the screen?
I am looking at the screen.
I'm going to add some random stuff in here.
Okay.
Now look at the window that pops up down here. How do you feel about this being a trash icon and not an X?
That bothers me. Like, what?
That bothers me so much. I was like,
Not
will this
only
delete
that,
my
it's
save?
not like center aligned with the little minus. Like, what? Okay, so you got me on here just to trigger me about
Yes.
design details. Yes, I appreciate
Yes, I
that.
did. You're welcome. Okay, so now what page?
Can you scroll back up a little bit?
Yes.
Like I'm still bothered. Thank you so much.
I know, right? Me too. It made me wonder if it was going to delete my save.
Look, I've been doing some work in the new Employee Center widgets and all that, and you set the colors for some of the icons in the idea portal actually in a script include, not anywhere else. And like that is the last place I'd go looking for like color settings and things like that. But the decisions just sometimes confuse me. Anyway,
I got to San Diego for the first time yesterday. And it felt like I was just groping around blind. Like it felt so the same, but not the same. It felt so interesting. I love it though, but it felt so interesting.
it's very different.
I missed the left bar navigation menu, even though for years I've hated on it. But I missed it so much, my heart hurt.
You're so used to it that like
It is. It's like that bad relationship you just keep coming back to.
that's a little specific.
That is a little specific.
Okay. So Paige wants us to go back on track. What's up, Paige?
So we're getting some information from the chat that says that the base URL may be too specific. And
Really?
I think yeah,
Because
so
that's-
basically what you can do is you've got the base URL, which is the first part of the URL, and then you can add to that. If you go back to Flow Designer, there's a part that says resource path, and that's where you can add the additional parts of the URL. So I really think the base URL should just be at api.todoist.com, and then we can add the rest in the resource path down below.
Okie dokie.
And part of the reason for that, at least part of the reason why I would do that, is because you can then feed in different resource paths. So it doesn't have to be static. You can, if you don't want it to be projects, you want to pull something else, then you can, feed in a variable for projects and do tasks instead of projects.
Yep, my bad. I copied including projects, not just. Yep. So should I delete? I should remove just projects.
Yeah, I'd keep the rest /
V1.
Yes.
V1.
Where is it?
It's in your connection alias, yeah.
But what if it's not? It's not. It's in a different.
Yeah, it should still be connected to your.
Your princess is in another castle.
Where on the page is the URL page?
I don't know. When you were creating it,
Where
you
is
put
it, Paige? No, this is it had me set something up. Where is the? Yeah. Oh, hey, look, it looks different. There's a connection URL.
So if you go
HTTPS connection.
Yeah, go back to the normal UI.
Yeah, hang on. No, this is weird. Why can't I see the URL here? When
we're gonna go
looking
find
at
that.
the same thing.
Go back to the normal UI and go to connections and credentials.
But no, hang on. Do you see what I'm seeing right now? If
I do.
there's nothing there and I click plus, I'm
Yes.
taken to HTTPS connection
Mm-hmm.
where I can edit the URL.
Yes.
But if there's a record in there, I'm taken to a completely different place.
You are. They're
What?
two different records. They're two different records.
Okie dokie. So let me go back to here.
Yeah, and type in connection and credentials, or just connections.
Sorry, I'm just trying to set off Sarah again with more weird UX.
I was just looking at all the different colors you use for your favorites. Is there like a rhyme or reason, or do you just pick whatever makes you happy?
I pick whatever my soul color is at that moment,
Yeah. I there was a point in time where I tried to like have a rhyme or reason to it, but then I realized it's so erratic when I make favorites that there's just like even the icon, there's no, it just is what it is.
Me too. I used to be so methodological. I used to be very caring. I used to care a lot, but then one too many clones wiped out my favorites, and it's just heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
For me, every project is a different color, and I use the same icons for the same type of things that I'm looking at.
Sharon is the type A person that I wish I could be.
But you gave me a little anxiety there. I wasn't sure you had saved before you refreshed.
No, I saved multiple times. Remember to trigger Sarah earlier.
No, the thing that always gets me is when I impersonate someone and then I look for my favorites. I'm like, where are my favorites? Oh, these are somebody else's favorites.
Okay, Chuck.
Yes.
Chuck's all smart and has a good idea there.
Know,
he says,
right?
keep an XML export of favorites and favorite groups, so he's always got the same starting point on a new instance. Like, chef's kiss. That's perfection right there. That requires forethought.
Yeah, I know. That requires forethought and executive function, okay? We lack both. Thank you, Chuck, though. There's a reason I look up to you.
Oh, that's like, I'm going to have to remember to do that. Because, anytime I start a new portal project or in a new instance where there are, like, certain things that always end up happening.
before I start talking about the widget editor and how I wish we could resize those columns, Paige, where do we go now?
They sort of resize.
No, they don't. Only if you uncheck them.
If you have two open, it's full. It's 50% width, and
God awful.
All right, back on task.
Yes, ma'am.
You need to add your resource path. So now in that resource path field up above, go up.
One
right.
line up. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. That's where you're going to put in the, yeah,
oh, okay.
with an S apparently.
It's gonna
There
work
we
this
go.
time, right?
Maybe.
We haven't even tried it.
Let's do
So
it.
go ahead and try it. Hit test. See what
Do it.
happens. You don't need that. You could have deleted that field.
This is something I kind of really like, how it gives you the link.
Mm-hmm.
But wait a minute, where did it go?
You have to hit cancel, or that works too.
Get
Look,
active
it
text.
keeps that up. How interesting.
It's really nice. Honestly, that's really nice when you're testing something that requires like a tap. Could you stop doing that?
I'm trying to read the screen, and every time I think I'm reading it, she puts the thing back up.
Oh Lord, you're gonna make me sick. They're feeding us alcohol. You can't flip back and forth like that.
Mhm.
I think I need to abstain from the alcohol next time.
Anyway, so if you're running tests and you're wanting to do multiple tests, you can just flip back to the screen and like hit run again, because it'll save whatever you put in as the variables and just keep running it over and over again as many times as you need.
Nice.
So it's kind of nice.
I love it.
Okay, so what are we looking at now?
We are looking at the error log, and
Okay.
apparently the credentials were not accepted.
Did you input the wrong password?
Oh. Take a
Your
look
password.
here.
Show us your password, please.
I've fallen for that before.
Like, this is the hacking project I
Here we
can get
go.
on board with.
Not me. This is ServiceNow asking you.
Invalid username password combo.
Okay, so now let's take a look at that. And honestly, what I love to do is just real quick. I love, let me grab this.
So Chuck is saying that if he recalls correctly, the API key needs to be sent as a URL arg. Not entirely sure. No, I feel like a pirate. Arg. I'm sure that's not what he meant, but I'm just gonna go with
Argument,
it.
I think.
Yeah, probably.
So we have to go back to the credential and change something?
Yes. So something that I love telling people is like, with ServiceNow, you literally just need to type the word ServiceNow and then Google the issue you have. So I typed in ServiceNow flow designer, and then I put the error code 401, and this seems useful. The first one had a link to a KB article where it was telling you to put the credentials in I wonder if this is the same KB article. But yeah, this is why I love working on ServiceNow, because it's just so easy to find the answer for most of the issues that you're having. And if you can't find it, you can ask it yourself. So let's see. Check saying, find out where it wants the API key. So it wants it to say bearer in front of the... So let's see where they want.
Yeah, so it looks like it's wanting the API key, and the documentation should tell us whether or not it's in the URL parameter or the header parameter, and then we can add it in our action in the appropriate place.
Awesome. Now, since we have our lifeline on the line right now. Is there a way? There has to be a way to put in here like a variable, so that way my token just isn't being displayed.
There is. If you do that input variable and then you drag and drop it. So if you were to create, say, another header, click that little, and then just as an example, drag that variable over there under input variables. Bam. But you do have,
But
like when you're testing it, you do have to, be able to drop
over
that in there.
here.
Yeah. And it is supposed to be a header. And that is not from me, that I'm reading the chat.
Yep.
Chuck's feeding all that. So
I just have to put this in here. Boop. And then I'm going to put in here.
So it'll automatically put the colon in and create the syntax?
No, it will not. You have to create the syntax. Like if you're talking about, I mean, it does like authorization and then it does the appropriate syntax, but you need to put bearer and then the colon and then the actual API.
Oh,
so
okay.
It won't create that syntax. You have to manually do that. Yeah.
Oh, neat. It lets you do both.
Yes. Copy paste the credential value data field.
Via the name, password. No, I'm so sorry, Chuck.
Man, he's gonna strangle you with a bow tie.
I know, right?
He's like, why did we let them take over?
Let us. We took over all on our own.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you.
Sorry, my bad. You're right.
As it should be.
So what's really funny is over here on the side, I'm looking up on the developer blog using credentials, and I'm trying to find and see, because it feels like there has to be some way that I can include. Oh, this is just talking about the source control. Look at all this documentation that's available for you on developer.servicenow.com. How magical. Okay, I give up. I'll stop trying to make it the smart way. I'll move my screen. Paige.
Yes.
Fill the silence.
Sorry, I actually had to mute because someone was playing really loud music in the other room. So
I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, we've been having some soundbar issues. And apparently my husband is not getting my text messages.
Have you ever done an integration before, Copal?
Yeah, so many.
So many?
Yeah, it's like on and off. Like even now, I'm running 3 integrations parallelly. So
Oh, wow. Have you done what we're trying to do right now?
I don't generally. I'm not using flow designers as of now. So we are doing by REST messages, import sets, those kind of integration. But yeah, I'm also bringing you to flow designers. I'm learning a lot from you guys today.
Oh, don't worry. We're also learning. Like,
Yeah.
look at these trash cans, y'all. What the heck? Dismissed.
So I think what it is with the trash cans is, if you'll notice, there's that bell with the number next to it. And if you click the trash can, it is no longer in that list if you click the bell.
But why is
nobody
it a trash
clicks
can
the
and
bell.
not an X?
Because X would just close the message, but it would still be in the bell. Trash can removes it as a notification entirely.
Oh,
Let's
that
take a
makes
look at that
sense.
because I've been hitting trash can and they were all here until I hit dismiss all.
Nope.
Um,
The number was going down, I think.
test. Oh, hey, ha, great. That's my freaking token right there. How kind of them. Yeah, it completed this time. And we got stuff. Could you
We got
imagine?
data.
Woohoo!
Success.
Success,
Yay.
and I better not see Earl. I better not see. Like, okay, you know what? On part 2, I am going to come back and I'm going to show y'all there has to be some method of making this anonymous or some environmental global variable that we can set. But okay, so we've
I
got.
have done this before with something that required a token, and I was trying to poke around and remember how I did that, but it was a little bit different. So I've not found it yet.
So I am going to do something smart that I promise I had noticed. LH pointed out a while ago. Why did you name it Get Tasks if you're looking at the API URL for projects? So now we're doing Get Projects. And then now I am assuming we need to add a new step for creating records from here.
So that depends. You could do it here, but you could also just do it as part of the flow. Typically, the way I've seen most of these operate is you use one action to actually do the API call and retrieve, whatever, and then it can feed it back out through the outputs, and then you use your flow to actually like create the records, like loop through all the different records, because that way you can use the flow actions instead of having to script it all out or anything like that. Because Flow has things for you to loop through each and then create records or update records. So that's probably the way I would go.
Sounds good to me.
Also, apparently the API key comes from the credential value data pill.
So credential value here. Oh, look at that. For some reason, I tried dragging. Oh, is that what he meant by refreshing earlier? Because I tried dragging it over and it did not work. But okay, I'm going to go delete my token now. Let me go trash that over here. Let me go redo this because I know Earl is just in the background doing something. And my Todoist account is broken.
Yeah, so after it back in your action, you'll probably want to add a JSON parser to actually parse out the information that's being returned, and then we can create a flow
Sounds
to
like
do
a
the
good
rest.
idea. So let's take a look here and see. Oops. Here it is.
This is an awesome step. I've built a handful of actions, and first time I did it, I used the JSON parser step, and it was a little tricky to figure it out. The next time I had to do it, that was not available to me as an option for building, and it's a whole lot harder when you have to like code for it to do that instead of using what ServiceNow has built for you to do that.
So what I heard was you're going to be telling me what to do during this step, huh?
Ooh, that was like a year and a half ago.
Aw. Sorry,
I
I'm
can try,
updating
but
the
it'll be
keys
weird.
here in the background because
Hey, Gabby, just giving you about a 5-minute time warning, FYI.
okie dokie then. Where do we go now, Paige?
I don't know.
Update. Okay, so I dragged over the response body from the rest step using these pills over here, which I'm assuming is what we need. And now I'm going to save and okay, LH, you expect me to read what's on my screen? I'm sorry.
I mean, it
So no
does
items
literally
have
tell
been
you.
created yet. You can easily generate items by pasting their source code in the editor and click on Generate Target button. In the top right to manually build out. Oh no, no way. I'm not gonna do anything manually. So I
feel like if you take an example of the payload and drop it in, it will create those things for you.
Yes.
So maybe if you look at your last execution and grab that payload, like grab the payload and pop it in there.
Sounds good. Boop. I figure like there must be some way to trigger it with the source data, but oh.
Yeah, but whenever you drop that in like that, it's not running that, right?
Oh, it's already processing, I think, or no?
Well, open up the little arrow to the left, the little tiny one. Now open it again. There you go. Ta-da!
It did the magic, y'all. Except my Zoom is kind of butchering it, but here we go. So now we've got oh, this is so nice. I tried making one of these manually once, and that's why I haven't done the Todoist integration yet.
This is so cool.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I'm going to hit save. And now we have to make sure that we're outputting the JSON parser step. I don't like just calling things what they are. I like to have it be more specific because I'm just so paranoid that things are always going to be broken because I'm using a name. And then I'm going to hit save here.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then no, you're fine. Hit exit edit mode. Top rightish. Yeah.
Mode.
And then that's where you can actually drop your pill in to that top field, not the action status, top field.
Cool. So I'm going to throw in root. I said I'm going to throw in root.
Apparently not.
Apparently it doesn't want me to.
When I did this, I had to use it as an array object rather than a JSON. I don't know if that's a factor of what we're looking at.
Oh
yeah, because it is actually an array object at that point, isn't it? So now exit edit mode again, and then you should be able to drop it in there. Nope. No.
Oh, it doesn't like root, but it likes root array.
That makes sense.
I take those.
And then we probably have enough time to try executing it, and then
oh, hey, look, my token doesn't show up anymore. That's nice.
Yay.
It's all right. Everyone's already screenshotted it. So.
Red wall of text.
Oh my gosh.
Good.
This has to be the thumbnail for the video. This is beautiful.
They have painted the word pink.
This is just, honestly, it's iconic. It's beautiful. I love her.
Hey, it is a good first start. It is way faster than it took me to build my actions to get to this point. So we are making good progress. So time to have a drink of our tasty beverages, rate them, and wrap it up and say farewell to all of the viewers for today. Gabby, do you want to go first with rating your beverage?
Of course, I drank an Angry Orchard hard fruit cider peach mango flavor. It did not taste like alcohol, which means I loved it. It is a 8.8 out of 10.
Very good. And Paige?
Yeah, so my 20 B's ice wine was really good. It's really sweet, which is kind of strange for wine out of a bottle, but it's good. So I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10.
So mine, I just poured second one. So I think I will rate it as 9 out of 10. I really loved it. It tastes so good, and especially when it's a Friday night. So 9 out of 10 for mine. Yeah.
I think she's double muted again.
Dagnabbit. Okay, so this is like a go-to white wine for me. Absolutely love it, and it dangerously just tastes like apple juice. Really good apple juice. So,
Those were the best.
oh gosh, yes, it's pretty dangerous, but I'll give it like a 9 out of 10. It doesn't send me into a state of euphoria or anything like that, but it's really good.
Now, I know that today's episode was kind of everywhere, but I really wanted to come in here just as a group of friends trying to figure out how to do something for the first time in ServiceNow and to really show y'all that, like, you don't need to have too much experience. You just need to have good friends who will do the things for you. And
Wow.
No, in the spirit of true live code happy hour, these ladies have come in and shown that when you are a developer, it doesn't matter how much skill you have coming into it or how much skill you don't have. There's so much information out there that you can find. You just have to go looking for it and have the bravery to try it, even if you've never done it before, even if you don't personally know someone who's done it before. It really is an adventure you should just take.
But not if it violates the terms of service.
oh, true.
True. Very
Honestly,
true.
I want Sharon to narrate my life. She's just so
Right?
positive and amazing. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you. So go
Just
ahead.
out alcohol.
So someone close us out.
All right. Thank you all. Have a beautiful day. And we will see you next week for the next Live Code Happy Hour.
So, Sharon,
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.